We are live. Welcome to the Road to Dopey video podcast with the Running Geeks. It's me, Jason, and
me, Stewart. Hello.
Good evening and welcome. So this is the first of many video podcasts Stewart and myself and some of our other friends are going to bring you between now and January when we do the Dopey Challenge at Disney in Florida. Which Disney is it, Stuart?
Walt Disney World, January.
Walt Disney World. I'm fast to know this shit. So it's Disney in Florida to me. They're all Disney. Yeah. So yes. So between now and January, there's going to be loads of these videos coming, thick and fast. They're going to get bigger and better as we go along, and we want to get you guys involved. So. Over to you, I guess, Stuart. You can give us a bit of an idea about what we're going to talk.
Kind of. I think we need to discuss what we're going to be talking about, which is like we've got 16 weeks now till the Dopey Challenge, but this podcast is not really about doing Dopey. You could be doing the 5K or the 10K, the half or the full, or all crazy Dopey. Or Goofy, which is the half and the full. So yeah, so we're going to be interviewing people as well, people that did it last year and people that did it the year before. I've got a few interviews lined up with people that quick and some that, so hopefully we share some good interviews there.
If you've ever done the Goofy Challenge, then I want to hear from you. I want to know why you did that. I can't get my head around why anyone would put themselves through a half marathon followed by a full marathon and not just do the 5K and 10K as well. Like why the hell would you do that? That just seems.
You are aware that you actually signed up for Dopey in January, aren't you?
Yeah. So we're doing Dopey because Dopey's fine. Like if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it. You might as well do all of it. But what I can't get my head around is why would you do the half and the full, and then just think, oh, I'm not gonna bother doing the 5K and 10K because you just walk with the balloon ladies. Like, what's the?
Well, the history of it. The history of it is it used to be only the Goofy Challenge, and 2 years ago they decided to add the Dopey Challenge. So. Talk that this year was going to be the last time that they were going to do the Goofy Challenge. So maybe they're going to discontinue it. I know it doesn't sell out as quick as Dopey. So yeah, who knows? Yeah,
you've got a point actually, because I think Dopey used to be unofficial, didn't it? It used to be like people did it, but you actually didn't get the reward for doing it.
You know about that?
What was that, sorry?
Did they? I never knew that. I've only ever seen people with the t-shirts and the medals.
Yeah, people used to do it. It was like a fan thing. So it's like it was the runners who called it Dopey Challenge, and people used to do it, but you never got the reward for it. So you never got the extra medal and the extra shirt and stuff. So you'd do the Goofy bit, and then you'd sign up to the 5K and 10K, and you just kind of do it because you're a bit crazy.
As we both are.
Clearly.
And you know what? Anybody that's viewing this show is also going to be a little bit dopey, stroke, goofy, stroke. Well, it's just a running generally. You got to be up at 3:30 a.m. in January, and that means training at Christmas time as well. Now, for some people that live in America, that might be all right with regards to weather, but we live in England and the weather ain't so great.
Yeah.
So yeah. Training in the winter.
I have to admit, I'm glad it's not March. I think I'd much rather run train in November, December when it's just a bit cold and a bit wet. I think January, February is when we get the worst of it here, isn't it? So,
well, I think you a cold winter, so you never know. You never know.
This podcast could get exciting because me and Stuart find out this week if we've got in London Marathon or not, and if we're in London Marathon, that means that we're training in February. Stewart didn't know he was going to find out this week about London Marathon, did he not?
I thought it was a few weeks. I knew it was soon, but I didn't know it was. Oh God!
Sorry.
What's wrong with it? roll with it.
We just roll with it. Cool. So
Anyway, with regards to the Road to Dopey podcast, so we're going to get some interviews from people. As well as that, we're going to be doing some like product testing and reviews. So, Jason, what have you got lined up for review?
Absolutely. So, I've already posted a couple of reviews on my other channel, so I will post a link down below for some for the Hoka trainers that I've been running in. So I decided to give Hokas a try. Just being a bit concerned about the whole distance thing with Dopey, and we'll cover it over these weeks as we go. But I have some problems with my heel, so I've got a heel spur, which is the result of an Achilles pain, which I didn't rest and made it worse. So there's some tips from me about I know, cause your own problems. So yeah, I'll probably talk about those again. I think the key thing for me as well is going to be about finding the right clothes. So I'm fairly sure from a shoe perspective, I'm going to be running in a combination of Hoka's. I use the Waka model and Nike Structures. So I probably won't review those shoes any more than I've already done, but I'll post some links. For me, it's going to be more about finding appropriate clothing. So stuff that I can start the races at 3 a.m. with and get warm, but actually by the end of the race remove them and not have to worry. I'm quite comfortable running with bags as well, so I'll probably be throwing some in the UK we call them bum bags. If there's anyone in America listening, you guys call them fanny packs. Fanny something different over here. Like, you know, a fanny pack over here is not something you mention in front of your mum and dad. So
not really a word for Disney.
It's what? Sorry.
Not really a word for Disney.
It's not a word for Disney. No. If Disney was in the UK, you wouldn't be allowed in if you had a fanny pack.
Yes.
So yeah, so I'll be reviewing a lot of stuff like that as well. I think the other thing I'll probably be talking a lot about is nutrition and food. So my other channel is pretty much all about food. So I'll be covering a lot of that kind of stuff as well. Really. What about you, Stuart? What you're going to be reviewing?
That sounds good to me. I'm playing my box.
Oh, hang on. You disappeared. Let's see if you come back. Try again.
I'm playing my box.
Amazing.
In this box it's unopened. Look, it's still sealed.
Have you not opened it yet? Oh, you need to do an unboxing video.
I think there's any need for an unboxing. There must be at least 1,000 YouTube. But yeah, I purchased an Apple Watch, so I'm going to review that. I do actually have a Garmin Forerunner 920, which I don't think it's going to replace, but that's kind of like for an everyday phone. So we'll see. I'll run with it, give it a try, see what it's like.
And we have the pair of us are both very pro Garmin. So Stuart's had some experience with Nike run watches. I've kind of really been fairly exclusively Nike, but we know a lot of people use TomTom and stuff like that. I'm using the Phoenix 3 at the moment, so you can see that. So yeah, if you've got any questions about Garmin and what Garmin you should wear and what Garmin you should use, feel free to ask us, and we've got quite a few years of experience with Garmin.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got any questions about upgrading your watch, and I went through quite some time wondering what watch I wanted to have, and it took some time to actually get the right watch, and I feel like I did get the right watch with this one, but it did take some time, and well, yeah, we'll see.
Don't call us the running geeks for nothing. So that, you know, we quite happily call ourselves running geeks for a reason. So take advantage where you can.
Yes. So, Jason, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your running history?
Sure. Yeah, no, that'd be good. I can do that. So I've not been running that long, to be honest. I started running, it'll be 3 years in January. So oddly enough, it'll be kind of just before my my 3-year anniversary when I start when we go to Dopey and we go to Florida. So yeah, I'd gotten out of shape. I was getting older, so not scared to tell the world how old I am. So I'm 33 at the moment. I'm 34 on Tuesday. So if you're watching this on Tuesday, I expect a happy birthday in the comments. Expected. Thank you. So yeah, so 3 years ago, but yeah, 3 years ago I started running. I was getting fat. I was getting out of shape, and I just needed to do something about it. So I started running. Somebody who I work with told me about Sweatshop. So Sweatshop is it's a running shop in the UK, and they have a running community there. And I think a few years before, I'd tried my hand at a 10K race, and all the photographs were hilarious because everyone used to say when they saw the photographs, used to say, "Did you even run?" Because on every single photograph, both feet are touching the floor, so it looks like my feet never left the floor for the entire distance of the race. So, yeah, it's true. So that was my.
Now,
What was that?
you perfected the running poses now.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to blame the Sweatshop guys from Castleford for that. So there's a little tip for you. Actually, the guys from Castleford said to me, if you want to ever get on the photographs, you need to make yourself look like a dick. I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, you've got to make yourself look really obvious, because if you don't do that, like, you're never going to get on the camera. So whenever I do a race now, there's always about 100 photographs of me. And if I'm not being an aeroplane giving it all this, I'm giving it like the horns or something, and lighting the cameras for all the thumbs. Yeah, thumbs.
Or it's this. Yeah, you always look a little bit better than when I do it. It's a little bit.
But that's how you do it. If you want photographs, you've got to make yourself look like a bit of an idiot. If you just look like every other runner, the cameraman's not going to take a photograph of you. He's not going to pay any attention to you. Or the other trick, it only works if it's a cameraman and not a camera woman. And it's a little bit wrong, but it kind of works. Try and run alongside really attractive girls. And then the cameramen are always taking photographs, strangely enough. Don't know why, but they do. Yes, so running. Started running about 3 years ago. Got more and more into it. Joining a running group, a community group, was the key thing for me. It made me want to run more. It made me want to get involved. That's where I met Stewart, oddly enough. And I've been kind of really doing that ever since. I've got a really interesting story, actually, about when I was younger. So this is when my dad will remember very much. So I always remember, I think I was in the Scouts, and so I think they have the Scouts all over the world, don't they? Like, it's a worldwide thing. So it was like a sports day thing with the Scouts, and we'd gone to a running track, and it was like a sports day, and you had to run around a track. So I kind of cringe a little bit now, because it's like 400 meters, isn't it, a track? Anyway, we all set off, all these Scouts, to run around this track, and I think I must have ran 20 meters, and then I was like, yeah, right. And I walked it the entire distance, just walked the whole thing, and I was like last by miles. And my dad was just embarrassed. I don't think I ever ran again after that day, until 3 years ago, and now I run quite a lot. So I've run quite a few half marathons. I must have run over 10, I think. Have I run over 10? Maybe less than 10? Don't know. There's a lot of medals. Yeah, I've run quite a few, haven't I?
Probably done over that.
Yeah, I think I've done more than 10 now. I've done quite a lot of 10Ks, obviously.
I said you've got the medals on the back there. Why don't you count them? I'd say about between 10 and 12.
There's about 25 medals up there. There's 2 rows. There's about 25 medals. So yeah, I think it must be over 10 half marathons now. So quite a lot of 10Ks, 1 5K. I did a 10 miler as well once in Blackpool. But this is the key thing for Dopey, and this is where this might be interesting for you. So based on your goals and whatnot, I've never run a marathon before, so I can just hear you all cringing now, because you've just kind of gone, oh shit, you're running a Dopey challenge, and you've never even run a marathon before. Like, are you insane? Yeah, I am a little bit. But I've never done it.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you not feel like you kind of taking away the glory of doing a marathon by jumping straight into the 48-mile challenge?
Do you know, I don't know. I'm like, my relationship with the marathon is really strange. Like, I don't feel, I think most runners have got this desire and this dream to be marathon runners. And I'll let you talk about your past in a bit, because I know we've spoke about that in the past about marathons and stuff. But for me, I have no kind of dreams and goals about marathon running. It's not something that kind of inspires me and makes me want to do more. So like the idea of doing an ultra marathon, so more than 26.2 miles, that's something that kind of interests me, but I don't feel ready for it yet. I don't want to give up the time to do the training, and that a lot of it boils down to that. But marathon's not something that's really, it's not like bitten me. So at this moment in time, no, I don't. But depending on how Dopey goes, it might be that I get to the end of the race and think, actually, I should probably have done one before, because I have just kind of like killed the momentum. But who knows? I mean,
first time is always going to be a PB, isn't it? So there's always that.
Guaranteed PB. Yeah, guaranteed. But never mind. It's all good fun. Yeah, but that's me anyway. That's kind of my background in terms of running background. Never really been into fitness and stuff. I used to ride mountain bikes. Then I moved to road bikes, and I still ride road bikes today. And again, in the comments below on YouTube, we'll post links to our Strava accounts and stuff like that. So follow us on Strava and whatnot. And we're on Nike Plus and Garmin Connect and all those places. So follow us in all those places, and you can kind of see what we're up to in terms of our training and stuff. Dopey goals, I think we said we'd just very, very briefly cover that. Really, I think in its honesty, I think my personal goal is medals. So that sounds really bad, but I have no intention of running any of the 4 races for time, really. So I'm quite happy to enjoy the experience with the people I'm going with. So with Stewart and our friends, and just generally meeting people along the way. The Americans get kind of excited when they hear the UK accent. So yes, ladies, I'm single. I'll be there for 2 weeks. Yeah, it's for me, it's just about the experience, and that's my goal, really, to enjoy the experience and to enjoy the whole thing. I don't want to come away from it thinking, I wish I'd have done this, I wish I'd done that different, I wish I'd done the other. If I want to get good times, good race times, I can do it another time. I know you've got a goal for the marathon, and I think one of my goals, without kind of jumping the gun, one of my goals is to help you get to achieve what you want to achieve. So I think on that note, I'll pass over to you, and you can tell us a little bit about your running background.
Okay, well, I guess Jason is far too modest to say that he's actually quite a quick runner. Well, he'd shake his head there and deny it, but he actually is quite quick in comparison to me. And I guess speed is all relative. But yeah, with regard to my history, I've been running now for 4 years. I started slightly different to Jason. I started at something called Parkrun in England, a local parkrun. It's a 5K weekly race. It's free to enter. They're in every local park in the UK. There's like, how many is in England? Parkrun?
Oh, it must be over 200 now, is it?
Over 200 free parkruns every week. Our local one's called Heaton Park, and they get like 600 people that rock up every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And yeah, we run a timed 5K. It's all free. So that's kind of how I started. I should say that there are only three parkruns in America, but there are parkruns across the world. But in America, there is one in God, what's it? Where is the one in Florida? There's only one.
It's on a park, isn't it? Well, obviously,
Claremont.
sorry.
It's Claremont.
Claremont, that's
It's
it.
about an hour away from Disney. So yeah, so that's where we started. And then there was a lot of people that did park run that also went to the running club, which Jason was talking about. And I decided I was going to kind of join there. And I joined there, but previously to joining there, I had already entered my first half marathon, which was the Disney Wine and Dine in 2013. So that was basically my first run Disney, and it was my first half marathon. I kind of jumped from 5K to half marathon. And then I repeated it again the following year. So I done twice a half marathon. Then I went with Jason to Avengers, the event. You need to talk for them to see that.
Woo!
Jason is there wearing his Avengers top. So yeah, so we did that in LA last November.
November 2014 it was, yeah.
It was an inaugural race, which was kind of Jason's first run Disney. In fact, his only run Disney.
It is, yeah. Do you know, I missed that out before, actually. I should have probably covered that on my introduction. I've only ever ran a run Disney race once before, and that was Avengers inaugural at Anaheim Disney, Disneyland.
Yes.
Yeah, got that one.
The Walt Disney World races will be somewhat different. Everything's on a much bigger scale, and I can't wait for you to experience that, along with our 3 other friends that will be joining us. So we'll give them a quick shout out: Chris, Rob, and Lisa, who are also joining us from the UK. And if anybody's watching this from the UK, then they should get in touch with us, because we'd like to have a meet-up. So that was Avengers, and then last year I did the 10K first, and then my first marathon. Didn't go quite as great as I wanted, but hey, I'm doing Dopey next year, so there's always room for improvement. And then 2 weeks ago I did this. I saw a few of you there at the Disneyland Dumbo Double Dare, which was the 10K one day and then the half marathon the next. I should say I have been pretty much injured with shin splints for the majority of this year and haven't been running as quick as I would like to. But to give you an indication of my times, I'm not a greatly speedy runner. My quickest half marathon is 2:06. So hopefully in the next year I will get to beat that. And Dopey, I would like to aim for 5 hours. So that's what we're trying to aim for. Well, should I say the marathon in 5 hours?
Yeah, and that's a good point. You know, if you get to know us over this, this next few months now, as we're doing this, and your plan is to run kind of a similar kind of time, feel free to come and join us, because I think the big thing for us both, and we'll come on to some other bits and points in a minute, which will just highlight that a bit more. But the big thing is it's about the experience and sharing that experience with other people. So if you're planning to run around that kind of same time, come and join us, come and find us, and we'll all run together, and we'll make it the best marathon that any of us have ever done before.
Yeah. Plus, if you've run the marathon before, particularly the Disney World Marathon, so what is that beeping?
Do you mean the bell?
Yes.
The bell, I don't know. I keep getting a pop-up that says this app is using features from a new version, but it wants me to upgrade, but I'm scared to upgrade in case it breaks the connection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, next time, hey, it's just popped up again now.
Can we turn it off? Can we mute it?
I've just tried to, let me see if it'll install without breaking it. It's still doing it. Hang on, bear with me. It's finishing its install. Let's have a look. Very strange because like this, I installed all this yesterday because it was so do you know, we might cut this out of this video. We might not. We might make you watch it. I don't know. I'll see how I feel. Okay, well, just whilst I'm figuring this a little bit out, I think the next thing we were going to talk about after our, in fact, actually, before we do that, the one thing I would say is if there's stuff, cool. So it's updated. It's not broke the connection.
Brilliant. So what I was saying was, if you have run,
anyway, we'll just carry on. It'll be fine. We'll get used to it, and you'll get used
carry on, and we'll just imagine it's not happening. But yeah, I was saying, if you have run the Disney World Marathon before, we would be interested in some of your hints and tips. Last year was my first, and obviously, like anybody that runs a marathon, Jason wouldn't know. There are mistakes you make in your first run, and you try to kind of correct them in your subsequent runs. And one of them was not setting off too quickly, but I will go into the mistakes that I made in another podcast.
Cool. Yeah, we'll do a full session on mistakes because it's not just a marathon. It's you know, we've both done stuff. We recently ran rock and roll. So the rock and roll series is mostly American, but they do some in Europe. So we did the rock and roll Liverpool, and they did 2 races back to back, so 5K and then a half. And you know, well, I don't know about Stewart, but I certainly made some mistakes there, which meant that I got fairly injured, and it's taken a long time to sort of get back from that. So we'll do a full session on mistakes. I think that'll be really, really useful. I think
and injuries and nutrition is a good one that we'll be doing. And things that runners don't really want to discuss, we're going to discuss them, like going to the toilet.
So, do you know what? You know, I'm a very open and honest kind of guy, and you know, I'm fairly happy to talk about toilet time with anyone. But people don't like it, and I think maybe this is one of the reasons why I like running, is because people are quite happy to talk about going to the toilet. Yeah, the whole poop conversation is acceptable in running circles, or at least it is in England. Maybe it's not in America. I don't know.
Most people I know have been like, yeah, you don't want to talk about that. But we're going to talk about it because everybody needs to be well aware of it.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to invite. We'll have one of these sessions, and we'll have the poop podcast one day. I'm going to invite my friend Katie on. She ran London Marathon a couple of years back. She's quite a popular YouTube. I'm not going to say celebrity because that'll just go to her head, but she's quite popular in the YouTube world. And we'll bring her on, and she can tell us her experience with pooping when she runs. She has some interesting stories that involve having to tie a jacket around her waist to hide the evidence. Let me just leave it at that for now.
Oh, I'm sure she's going to appreciate the fact that you've shared that with all of our viewers.
She shared it with her own 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm sure she's quite happy for it.
We're going viral.
We're gonna go viral. Yeah, we're gonna get the girls on, and we're gonna get them to talk about poop. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. So I mean, and besides the poop, there's also the weird, and I am known to be Mr. Weir.
You are, and you know, and we'll pick this up properly in the poop episode. But you know, the one thing I found strange when I was in America, so in the UK. It's maybe we're just scruffy in the UK. I don't know, but in the UK, it's fairly acceptable to just get your tackle out and have a little piddle on the side of the road. That's kind of okay. I didn't. That didn't feel like it was going to be okay in America. I felt like I probably would have been arrested or possibly shot for doing that. So yeah, it'd be good to talk about that. I think we'll bring that up in the chat. So I guess just going back to sort of today and I guess this part of the show, the one thing that we want to try and do is keep this pretty interactive. So I think this whole podcast is going to be a bit of a motivational tool for us to help us get through this kind of experience, but we want it to help other people as well. So if there's questions that you guys have got, do ask them, and I think with those questions we can help each other along the way. And I think the more collaborative we can be, the better, essentially. So I think one of the main questions we've got this week, and we kind of touched on it before, I think, and was the question that we got from people was, do you run Disney for a PB, so a personal best, personal record, whatever you call it? So do we run Disney races to get for a time? So I'll let Stewart answer that first, I guess, because you've done far more run Disney races than I have.
Well, I've run now a total of 6 runs at Disney and never had a PB at Disney. So yeah, unless you count the first times, and then I have a PB for the half, which is my first half, and a PB for my first marathon, but I don't really count that. Yeah, they say that it's very crowded, and generally it is very crowded, and there are a lot of people stopping for pictures, and generally the type of people that do Disney they don't tend to be your elite athlete. They're doing it for more of the experience. And because of that, they tend to stop for character pictures and, if possible, jump on a ride here and there.
Yeah, and you know what? And I guess if you're a fairly fast runner, if you run at a fairly decent pace, you've got a really good chance of placing. So Disney have they use their own age bands, and they split their age bands. I think they're in groups of 5 years. So from adult upwards, they're in kind of steady groups of 5 years, quite high, and they have a male and female category, and they give prizes to the top. I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the top 5 in each of the categories, and I think there's about 10, maybe not 10, but there's quite a few categories. So it's worth looking into. But if you are inclined to run a bit quicker, don't be scared to do so. You're likely to place if you're a bit quicker than me. So I'm not that fast. I know Stewart sort of says I'm fast, but I think my PBs are something like, I think, at 21-minute 5K and 1:43 half, something like that. But a 1:43 half at my age, potentially you might get top 5 with that kind of speed, and I think that's what we're talking about. So if you go to here in Manchester, it was the Warrington Half Marathon on the Sunday just gone. So to place at Warrington Half Marathon, you would have had to have ran a sub 1 hour, or at least 62-minute half to get top 3. So to be able to run a kind of a 100-minute race, 105 minutes perhaps, and still place, there's a good opportunity to do it. So if you are inclined to run fast, there's an opportunity to do so. But I think Stuart's right. The crowds, the Avengers Inaugural wasn't that busy, but I think you'd have still struggled. People aren't there.
We were in Corral A. Admittedly, we did push. I don't think we pushed ourselves to the front, but we were in Corral A, and it was a little bit busy at the start, but I don't think it was any busier than any other race at the start that I've ever been to.
No, the start wasn't too bad, and I think people were pretty well behaved. So I think it was the people who were stopping to have photographs. They were getting out of the way and stuff like that. So that bit was all fine. I think probably a lot of it was probably the course.
Yeah, the course does tend to have, well, all of the courses, I should say, do tend to have quite a lot of twists and turns. which I actually really like because you don't actually know where you're going and it keeps it fresh and you're all like, you know, you don't know what your journey is going to be.
What was that church we went past when we were in LA? When we ran past the Avengers in LA?
The church?
Yeah, the big massive church with the big crucifix on the top.
I can't remember what it was called, but it was opposite the Best Buy at the Orangery Outlet Mall. So maybe someone could let you know.
Yeah, somewhere in that region. But my point was, and what Stuart's saying about the twists and turns and not knowing where you're going. We'd not really studied the course anyway, but we definitely didn't know where we were going. We were staying in Hollywood whilst we were there, so like the whole kind of Anaheim, Orange County area, we weren't that familiar with it. And actually, it was great to be able to run around and see stuff that we wouldn't normally have seen because, you know, we're Brits in America. We spend most of our bloody time shopping. Let's be honest. And when we're not shopping, we're eating. It's true. So it was good to be able to go and see some stuff, and the race really helped us be able to do that. Florida is going to be a bit different, I think, because Florida, the races are in the park, so you just get to see the park.
You do run quite a significant amount of miles on the motorway section, the highway section between the parks. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I found it, from a PB perspective, I found it a little bit emotional whilst I was in Disney. So I don't think I could have ran fast when I was actually in the park. It was to be in like a Disney resort, in a Disney park with like, you know, just runners in there, and it's closed to the public and the rides are shut, and you know, you just get to see the kind of the beauty of the place. I found it a little bit emotional. I don't think I could have run much faster than we ran that day.
He's saying that, but he could. It's the music they play as you're running.
Yeah, Jurassic Park music.
Well, I can't remember what the music is, but there's a lot of different music.
Yeah. If you've been to Disney, you know the music. You know it's you know the music.
Special music just for the running now.
I don't think it's special music just for the runners. No, I think it's the music that's on all the time. I think if you work there, if you're a cast member, I imagine it's like I imagine you probably have nightmares listening to it because you're just listening to it all the time.
Speaking of music, brings us to our next question.
Oh yeah, go on.
Did you run Disney with music?
With
headphones.
I'm not on the fence actually on this one. My view on music is quite simple. So if you're in, not just for Disney, but just generally, if you're in Corral A in a race, if you're at the front, or if you're at least trying to do a PB, and you're aware of your surroundings and you've trained with that music to be aware of your surroundings, fine, do it. Maybe just do it in one ear, you know, or go for those. People might have seen them, the headphones that sit on the temple here, and they just send vibrations into your temple, so you can hear the music, but it's not clogging your ears. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to get past someone who's listening to music and can't hear you coming up behind them. It's really, really irritating. You might not realize it at the time because you've got your music in and you don't see us running up behind you. But for everyone who's running up behind you, let me tell you right now, they all called you a C word, and it sounded a bit like hunt. So just be aware of that. I don't know. I mean, no, you don't need it at Disney, I don't think.
I think my opinion is that it really depends if you're PB chasing. If you're PB chasing and you need that motivational music to get you through it, then I would suggest do it one ear and then pay another ear to attention to everybody else. You need to be listening to the marshals as well, the volunteers, because there are areas along the path where they'll tell you there's bumps ahead and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be my advice. But I don't feel like you'll experience the full amount if you run the whole of Dopey or the whole of whichever race you decide that you're going to do with the headphones in. You need to kind of have that.
And you speak to so many people as well. That's the other thing. So don't be shy at Disney races. People will talk to you, and people will want to talk to you, and they'll want to know your story. They'll want to know where you come from, where you're going, how long you're around for. I remember when we did Avengers, we got talking to some women just as we'd left the park, and they were talking to us because they were going to the Rock and Roll Vegas the evening after the race. If you recall, so that they were going to go straight there, and they were telling us that they were driving across, and they were staying in the car, and blah blah blah. But and you might remember this, but they took our numbers. They took our race, not phone numbers. It wasn't that kind of conversation, but they took our bib numbers because they wanted to see how we got on in the race. Now, I kind of like that. It was really nice, and I'm only picking on those two particular people, in this instance, but. I think we must have spoke to 100 people on the way around about different things. It was a really windy day, so a lot of it, we were talking to people about the bloody wind and moaning about the wind. I got good exfoliation that day. It was I had some pretty nice soft skin for a few days after. Yeah, it's a strange one, the music, because I do like listening to music when I run. I like music. It's something that I've carried with me all my life, really, music. But I think you have to respect people as well, other people. So if you are going to do it in a safe way, one ear or the Temple headphones, and don't just assume that you need the music just because you've always kind of done it in the past. See if you can do it without it, because honestly, in my opinion, you'll have a better experience at a Disney race. Without the headphones,
you'll remember parts a little bit better as well. It's not going to be the same, playlist that you've been listening to during your training. You're going to remember the event better, and you're going to meet more people if you keep your headphones down and off.
Yes, agree completely. Cool.
And there's always people running Disney with flags on, like obviously, as we've said, we're from England, and the 5 times that I've run Disney, I've always seen people with either a park run t-shirt or a t-shirt that are recognised as being an English t-shirt, or some people run with flags, and it's not just English flags. You see people from all over the world. And if they're from wherever you're from, it's always nice to go and say hello and to have a chat and to see if you can keep up with them and to offer them some encouragement. And I'm sure they'll offer you the same encouragement. And if you're American, then everybody else is American. So you've got even more people to offer you encouragement.
Exactly. Cool. The next question, I guess, that we've got to deal with this week, and I think this is probably the last of this week's questions, is are we and are you, the wider public, are you going to stop for character pictures and or this is the important one, and the cast members won't like this one, right?
Did you say rides?
Rides. So, I think we'll do character pictures first, and then we'll come on to rides.
Okay. Well, as we're doing Dopey, I guess I should just kind of talk about what my goals are for Dopey. And my only goal with Dopey is to do the marathon in a time which beats my time last year. So that leaves me 3 races before Dopey with enough time to get all the pictures and see all the characters and maybe taking a ride or 2, depends. But no, I won't be stopping for any of them on marathon day, unless there is a character and the character has no cue, and there's a photographer there waiting, and I need a walk break, I will run up, I will take my picture, and then I will go.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So I think before I'd gone across, before I came to the Avengers, people had described the character photographs to me, and the description I'd been given wasn't a reality of kind of what it was really like. So I think in my head, I'd kind of imagined that you were running along the road, and then you see a random character just stood by the road cheering the crowds, and you just kind of stop, get your phone out of your pocket. Get your phone out of your pocket, do the little selfie with your character, your arm around the shoulder, and then you kind of run on. If you think that that's how it's going to be, if you've never done one of these races before, that is not the case in any way, shape, or form. It is nothing like that. It is a really formal affair, and it's a very British affair. It's not very American. So essentially, they'll have a stand. There'll be a big deal about it. You get warnings as you're approaching it to tell you that there's a photo opportunity coming up. There's a character, there's a proper cameraman.
There's 2 cameramen.
Yeah, absolutely. And there'll probably be a queue of about 30 or 40 people in front of you.
And also a marshal or volunteer that will take your phone and will do a picture on your camera.
Yeah. Now, if you're smart, what you'll be able to do is you get to the photo opportunity, go and stand just in front of the cameraman and selfie job it. Now, it's one of those queues look pretty crazy to me. It depends how much you want the photograph. It's one of those. If you want the photograph, do it. Get a GoPro, just film it as you go around.
I don't think you're allowed GoPros anymore. They've banned selfie sticks, and I think that
haven't they? Yeah.
A GoPro on a stick would not be allowed.
I think I'm going to try and sneak my GoPro in. I think I'm going to stick it in my pocket and see if I can kind of film as I go around.
Oh.
I'm preempting the future a little bit here. I'm kind of saying, oh, I'm going to bring my GoPro in, and I don't actually own a GoPro, but the plan is to have a GoPro before January. So, yeah, hopefully.
I ran last year's 10K with the GoPro, and yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to do it, I ran it with a selfie stick.
I'm not going to put it on a stick. I think my plan is just to stick it in my pocket and just pull it out every now and again and just have a little, you get the idea. There's no, and again, this is something we'll probably review in a few months, but there's no image stabilization on GoPro, which is it just infuriates the hell out of me. If you can fit image stabilization into a phone that's this slim, then why can't you put it in a little box unit which is focusing entirely on the camera? And yes, okay, I can do image stabilization on the GoPro software. Yes, okay, I can do image stabilization on Final Cut Pro, but I shouldn't have to. Why is it not in the camera? It's just ridiculous. Someone's got to come here and say, "Hey, my phone Max got image stabilization, you idiot," and it probably has, and I've probably just not read up on it. But as far as I'm aware, it hasn't got image stabilization.
No, it doesn't. And it's one of the reasons why I sold mine and swapped it for something which I use more regularly, which is my Garmin. But I think that there's a high possibility that the newest GoPros, the ones that they're about to release, because they release them every year in about November time. So, yeah, we might see that very soon.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
That will be top of the range, though.
If you stop for a photograph, who's your character that you want to photograph with?
Well, obviously, Mickey. Dopey will be at the end. He will line up to have him in front of the photo board.
That's a good point, actually. Let's get this out there for people. If you see Dopey on the route and you're doing the Dopey challenge, don't feel like you need to stop and that's going to be your only opportunity to get a photograph. At the end of the marathon, after you've collected all of your medals and you've gone back out into the open bit where you do the bag collection and stuff, so you don't have to have all your medals from the few days before. Check them all in, put them in your bag drop, go back out, go to bag drop, get all of your medals. Dopey will be there waiting, and you can have your photograph there. So don't feel like you have to get Dopey on the race. He's at the end at the bag drop.
He's also, I believe, they also do photo ops for about an hour before the race. So about 4:30 a.m. if you want to get that early morning picture in the dark. Also, I believe Goofy is there and Mickey is there for the marathon, and Minnie was definitely there for the 10K.
Yeah, the only thing I'll be doing at 4:30 in the morning is queuing to use the toilet.
Okay, thanks for doing that.
So, rides. Let's talk about rides. I don't know how much I'm going to say here because I don't want to get people in trouble, and I'm probably going to get in trouble and kicked out of some Facebook groups for this. There may be a Facebook group of people who are planning to ride as many rides as they can during the Dopey Challenge. There may be, there may not be. That's all I'm going to say on that one.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you can only do the rides after the parks open at 9 a.m.
Correct.
Correct. So if the races start at 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
I've got that noisy sound. If the races start at 5:30 a.m. and say you're in one of the back corrals anyway, so you get started by 6, then you're going to be doing a 3-hour half marathon.
Correct.
So the question is, like, for quite a lot of people, they will have already finished by that time, because the clock time would then be 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah, if not later. Yeah.
So you don't really have that much time to go on the rides.
No. So the guys, well, I say guys, it's guys and ladies who are planning to do it and who've done it before. What they've said is that you need to start in the back corral. You need to pretty much do a 3-hour half marathon at the start of the marathon. So, and then you need to start picking up the rides then as the rides start to open. So there are certain rides which are easy where there's no queue, and there are certain rides which are extraordinarily difficult. But ultimately, it's doable. The only thing that they do say is that last half marathon, the actual running pace that you need to be able to do to not get swept, and if you want to get in sort of say 5 or 6 rides, and you know these guys aren't planning to do one ride, we're talking about 5, 6, 7 rides. They do say you need to be able to kind of run like a 1:45 half marathon in that second half. So it's you need to be able to pick up the pace quite quick, really. I quite like the idea of jumping on maybe one ride at the end. If we're pacing quite well and we've got loads of time.
What's it going to do to your Garmin map? It's just going to throw it all off.
Fastest mile.
No.
If we can find a race that does like 70 miles an hour, it's like Garmin will be going nuts. Fastest mile. But yeah, I don't know. I'll see. There's talk about the half marathon. So even on the half marathon, it's still possible to do. I think people say it's like 3 or 4 rides that it's possible to do. Should you do it? Should you go on rides? That's up to you. It's a risk. Maybe you should. Maybe you shouldn't. There won't be much in the way of queues, so it's a good opportunity whilst the queues are low. But you're there to run, really, not to go on the rides. But go with what you feel.
What experience you're going to do Dopey for? If you want to enjoy the parks and you want to walk and see everything and see all the characters, then you probably are going to go on a ride or 2 if you want to. For me, not about that. For me, it's about the race.
Yeah, I think we're going to run, and I don't think we plan to spend. I think we've said we'll maybe go back to the parks for one day after, but I don't even think we plan to spend much time in the parks whilst we're over there, and we're there for 2 weeks. So we are there to run, really. So the one thing that I plan to do, so the one naughty that I'm going to try and do, I think it might be quite difficult, though, but we'll see. People were talking about donuts. They were saying that they were getting donuts en route. I was like, what, donuts? I was like, how did you manage that? Apparently, so not done the course. Stewart has, so he can correct me here. Apparently, there's a Starbucks in Disney, quite near the end.
Oh yeah. You wouldn't want to stop there though.
Well, so this is what people say. So this stop for a donut at the old Starbucks. So I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm a bit of a Starbucks fan, like, you know. I do like me a good old, I do like a good cup of a nice latte with made with coconut milk. You know, that would be quite. I'd quite enjoy that mid race. I think that'd be quite nice.
It's not mid race. It's like with 200 meters to the finish line.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Well, I won't be running with you.
You run on.
You run on.
I'll get on and I'll meet you at the finish line.
And bring them. But be careful not to go too quick because I don't want you to spill them.
Well, it might take me a little bit longer because you always have to make sure you buy your multiple drinks orders in separate transactions to get your stars, because you don't get the stars otherwise. So yeah, but anyway, that's the kind of the one crazy thing that like keeps crossing my mind.
No, but apparently when I was in Anaheim for the Dumbo Double Dare, I'm sure it was at the 10K or was it the half? There was a Starbucks halfway through. I definitely remember seeing that, and there were people running in.
Good on them. Yeah,
and there are donut stands in the park, so you might be able to pick up. I forget what they're called.
Churros.
That's it.
Yeah,
there was someone dressed up as one actually.
Yeah, there are a few other challenges actually. One of them is a food challenge. So it's like, you know, when you're doing the Dopey challenge, you've got to stop and get certain things. So you've got to get churros. You've got to get Dole Whip. So I think you've got to get Dole Whip from somewhere. There is apparently, and again, not done the course Stewart has, when you're on the motorway, you guys call it a highway or a freeway. I don't know if it's a highway or a freeway. One of those roads. As you're running over there, apparently there's a McDonald's down below underneath the highway. And if you climb the fence and run down the embankment, you go into McDonald's and you have to get Coke from McDonald's and then like some other stuff. And there's like a big list of things that you're supposed to get en route. If that's your thing, do it. You know,
it's a marathon. It's not a treasure hunt.
People do crazy shit. You know, it's if they want to do it, leave them to it. You know, they're not harming anyone, so I go for it. And apparently, Dole Whip apparently is now vegan as well. So if that's your kind of thing, apparently Dole Whip is safe to eat. I think it's pretty much just crushed frozen pineapples with sugar, I imagine.
Sounds very healthy. But then when you're running a marathon, you can eat anything.
Yeah, I think you can.
I can, but I'm not the vegan, whereas Jason is the vegan, so he's a little bit more restricted.
Yeah, I'll just stick with this gallons and gallons of this stuff. So, yeah, keeps me alive.
Well, that takes us to about an hour of the show, so we should really wrap it up around there.
Yeah, I think you're right. So there's a couple of bits that we missed a little bit earlier on, and just to sort of recap on them really quite quickly. You know, I think we've touched on it very briefly, but that we do want to keep this interactive. So if you want to be on this podcast with us, we want you to be on it. So get in touch. We've got a website, return. It's not bloody Star Wars, is it? roadtodopey.com. It's .com, isn't it? Not .co.uk.
.com, Road to Dopey.
So roadtodopey.com. Go there. We're going to upload the audio podcast. It'll be in all the normal places. So I'm going to look to try and get that on iTunes if we can. I'm pretty sure we can do that. I don't think we can. And obviously on YouTube. But get in contact with us however you can, and we'll get you involved as well. The more interaction from you guys, the better. Really, this is your support channel as much as it has. The other thing was we were going to talk about travel, but I think what we'll do is we'll probably do a full episode on travel. with us being from England, it's it's a big organisation piece trying to get over there. So we will do a full session on that. But yes,
the more important thing to talk about, rather than us, our flight arrangement, would be to talk about how people that are staying in the Orlando area are going to travel to the races each morning.
Yeah,
so we'll discuss that and discuss going on coaches, and we'll discuss whether you should go in a car or get dropped off, or go in an Uber, or a coach if you're staying on site.
Yeah, exactly. All that kind of stuff. But yes, that does pretty much wrap up what we've got for this week. So next week, Stuart's lined up some interviews for us. So we'll get those guys on to the hangout, and we'll have a nice little chat in our usual way. So I think they've both done Dopey before. Is that right?
Yeah. Hopefully, we will get them on. But one is a girl called, I'm actually not going to say, and one is boy. I've not confirmed these, so hopefully get them on for next week. If it's not next week, it will be the week after. But yeah, if we want to get different types of people on, people that have done it before, people that are going to do that first time, we want to meet you. We want to see you. We want to interact with you. I guess we should tell people what our Twitter handles are. So I'm at Run Stewart, which is spelled Stewart.
And I'm it's the Jason Hearn, or the Jason Hearn, but I'll post links to all down below.
And we're both on Instagram, which is probably where we meet more Run Disney people. And I'm at Stewart Anthony, and you're the same, aren't you?
Yeah, I use the Jason Hearn everywhere except on YouTube. And on YouTube, I am Eat, Ride, Run.
Right. Well, I guess that is pretty much it. If you have liked this video, please like it. Thank you. Subscribe, share. If you don't like it, but you know somebody that might like it, share it with them.
Share with your mum, share with your gran, share with your granddad, share with your uncle, share with your dad.
Share with people you don't know. Yeah, if you would like to give us some feedback on the points that you think we might have missed for this week, or anything that you think we could make the show a little bit better, this was episode 1. We would be grateful to hear from you. So until next time.
We'll see you again.
Take care and keep running.
Bye.
Bye.